what Malema said. And not only Malema, I have heard Professor Pierre Lumumba speaking the same thing. I have heard Dr. Alikana Chombole Kwao and other many patriotic of African Pan-Africanists speaking about the continent of Africa. But you can wonder, Africa, we have horrible land and fertile land, but we can't feed our people. We are importing food from outside of the continent. You can wonder, Africa, we have rivers, lakes, seas, oceans, and sometimes we have land, but our people has no safe water. This is the tragedy of Africa. Africa, we have coal, we have uranium in Namibia, in Zimbabwe there, in Tanzania, in Niger. Africa, we have wave, but we have a shortage of electric power. As you look at the continent of Africa, we have cows, but still we are importing powder milk from outside of the continent. That's the tragedy of Africa. Africa, we have cocoa, but still we are importing chocolate from outside of the continent. We don't have industries to get our own cocoa. Africa, we have our indigenous and natural chickens, but still we have importing chickens from Romania. We are importing eggs from China. This is a very, very, very amazing. Africa, we have rivers with all kind of fish. We have lakes, we have oceans, we have seas, we have ponds, and we have dams with all kind of fish. Still, Africa, we are importing fish from outside of the continent. This is a tragedy of Africa. So we need to remove this this tragedy as Africans. This generation is our duty to make sure that we build the Africa we want. Now we are going to the agenda. We are in the agenda 2063. What have we done in this agenda? We are talking about the silence the gun in Africa. Are we prepared to silence the gun in this continent? And we know how this war affecting our development as Africans. So Africa, we have all kind of resources. Look today, Africa with all kind of resources, but still we have been affected by the war between Ukraine and Russia. Look, we have all kind of resources, but we are still affected by the crisis between Russia and Ukraine. Africa, we have no Africa army. That's why you see foreigner militaries, especially from Europe, operating in Mali there, in Burkina Faso, in the Sahel region. They are fighting jihadists. Africa, we don't have our own army that can go there and fight and liberate our people. Look what's happening in Congo. People are just chasing from their homes. What's happening in South Sudan? We don't have army as African army that can go there and stood for the continent of Africa. We are so divided. That's why everyone can come. Look on how Africa, we are so cold. Africa has been cold in China, in Beijing. Africa has been cold in Moscow. Africa has been cold in Brussels. Every country are calling Africa. Do you think Africa, we are so beautiful that everyone loves us? Do you think Africa, we are so polite that everyone can be very well to be with us? That's the question we need to ask. So when Marema talking about this, I have many questions come to my mind and ask myself, is it true Africa with all kind of resources? We don't have our own market, our own stock exchange here in the continent. We depend on other less or other continent for the stock exchange. So you look on the continent of Africa, but all this is because we are so divided. We need to preach peace in this continent. We need to preach love between ourselves. If we love each other, this, what we say, unity of Africa will be easy. It will come. But if we don't love each other, no one is ready to come and unite. Because you don't love your fellow, you don't love your neighbor, you don't love your relatives. So Africa, we need to understand that this world, we are just living like in the jungle. Survive for the fittest. If you are not hunting, you are going to be hunted. That is the truth, my dear friends. So always we say, and we continue to speak about the unity of the continent of Africa. This is the only salvation of us. If we continue to be divided, we have this language barrier. Still, Africa, we are so affected by this. We don't have our own language. When you speak English, the UK people will understand what we are just talking. But it's very difficult for us to understand what the Chinese talking, because they use their own language. So we need Africa to have our own language. Despite we are using French, we are using other language. Also, we need to have our common language. We need to have one currency, like Malema said, to be backed in the gold. So we trade in terms of now we are going to the continental free trade area. What type of currency we are going to use in this what we call continental free trade area? How we are going to achieve? Are we going to trade in yen? Are you going to trade in dollar? Are we going to trade in naira? Are we going to trade in shillings? Are we going to trade in kwacha or cedi or franc? What kind of currency we are going to trade with in this continental free trade area? So that is the question that we as Africans, we need to ask ourselves. We have many types of currency in this continent. So we need to have one currency so that you can come from Cape Town to Dakar in Senegal with a single currency, with a single passport, without someone asking you a visa. But this is possible if we unite and realize that Africa, we are one. Sometimes we're engaging in the conflict that is not our own. We fight for the better of others. Africa, we don't have industry for arms, for bombs. We don't have those industries. But ask yourself, how these bandits, they get this, who move this from the industry there and put in Africa? If it is ourselves, we need to blame ourselves. If it's someone else, it is helped by Africans. So Africans, we need to realize this. If you think there's someone who loves you much, you are lying yourselves. So my opinion here is that Africa, we need to unite. We need to come together. We need to solve our problems. It can be done. It is possible. We can. We have energy to do so. But all these can happen if we love each other. Let us preach love and unity among ourselves. Thank you.